Hi, everybody. I hope you are all well. So, this is officially the last book I will be reviewing for 2023. It is the 30th of December when I am filming this, but I'm going to be uploading on the 31st when I'm over at my mum and dad's house for lunch because they've got super fast broadband, and so that I can get that sorted then. Thank you, Mum and Dad, for letting me use your broadband. So what have I been up to? Obviously reading a lot because, as mentioned in my last video on Boxing Day, I went for a walk and I hurt my heel, and I thought, it wouldn't be too bad. I'm still in pain. I am hobbling around my house. I can put more weight on my heel now, but I'm still hobbling. I'm, having difficulty moving around. And yesterday, went to Dunelm to buy myself a new dinner set because I desperately needed new plates and such. And that hour, oh my god, I was so exhausted. I was going around Dunelm trying to keep up with Mum and Dad, and I was so tired. I had to have a nap yesterday afternoon because I was so tired. But yeah, slowly but surely I am healing. But yeah, I've had to stay indoors. I would have liked to have gone on more walks and everything whilst being off for the Christmas break and everything, but I can't until my heel is better. So I've been reading and reading and reading, and so I have finished my 2023 with The Prestige by Christopher Priest, which I am here to review. So a little bit of backstory. So I saw the film The Prestige, I think it was around 2009-ish. I saw it when it was on TV. The film came out in 2006, and yeah, it was a few years down the line. I think it was on like Film 4 or something, or Channel 4. Like it was a premiere. Well, it wouldn't be premiere film because then that would have been 1 year after the film came out, the premiere of it being on TV. But it just so happened it was on TV, and I watched it. I really liked it. I thought Christopher Nolan, it was a great Christopher Nolan film. I still feel it is a really great Christopher Nolan film. And I loved the ending. I thought what gets revealed, I will put it that way, and I'm not going to say what it is because obviously spoilers, was really great. So much so that is the key thing that I remember from the film. Couldn't remember much else about the film, but I remember that ending because I think it was just so like, what the fuck kind of moment, like, geez. And I think everyone who has seen the film probably says the same thing. So I went into this book knowing what that thing was, but I couldn't remember the sequence of events that build up to it and such. I just, no memory whatsoever. So I went into this aware of what the thing was, but nothing much else. If you don't know what this book is about, it's about magicians, 19th century magicians. So there is Robert and Alfred, and the two of them are like magician rivals in the 19th century. And this book is actually written from their two perspectives, but also there are two other perspectives set from 1995, which is modern day when this book was published. So when I refer to modern day, I'm actually referring to 1995, just so you're aware. So we've got Andrew and we've got Kate in the modern day. So Andrew is a journalist. He is looking into, he's investigating this man who, because of a situation that's caught, their attention and everything. But it's believed that he was in two places at once, and he's like, okay, that's very weird. And he's going off and trying to investigate. And in the course of his investigation, he comes across a woman called Kate, who reveals that she is descended from one of the magicians, Alfred and Robert, and Andrew is descended from the other. Andrew has a book that was written by his ancestor, and Kate has a diary that was written from her ancestor. And so we have the book, the diary, and we also have their own sections, their perspectives, and a mystery that plagues both Kate and Andrew in their own lives, which are interlinked with everything. So it's all about trying to find out the mysteries of what happened between these two magicians, but also the mysteries between that links to the magicians, to Andrew and Kate. Now, as I said, I knew The Thing. I'm going to refer to it as The Thing, because if I try to use it another way, I know I'm going to spoil. So if I just use the term The Thing, I'm not spoiling this. So because I already knew that, I think quite possibly I saw this book in a different way. But what I didn't anticipate was that The Thing would be revealed to the reader really quite early on. And I was like, oh, okay. That's odd, because surely if it is a big deal, just as, you know, if you've watched the film, you know, surely you want that to be your big reveal at the end. But I was so stupid in regards to that I didn't think about the modern sections, and what you think is the thing is not the thing. It's the magicians, it's the structuring of this. That made so much more sense when I got to the end of this book, and I just thought, oh my god, it's the magician is wanting you to look that way when you should be looking that way. That was so well done. And so I had been sending messages to my sister and our bestie Sarah. Hey Sarah. Just all the time, I was telling them this structuring is so weird, and it's all written first person as well. So, and I don't get along with first person. I prefer third person. If you've seen my previous videos, you'll know that. It frustrates me, first person perspective. So I was just a bit like, I don't like this structuring. It's very weird. The Thing got revealed pretty early on. I'm like, where is this going? I don't understand. And then when I got to the end, I was like, oh, you fell for the trick. You utter idiot. But that's what made it so brilliant at the same time. So even though the structure really irritated me, it was written in a form that I cannot stand because of the type, because the first person, and this is like diary entries and a book that was the bulk of it, a book that was written in the 19th century. There's not that much dialogue when I love reading dialogue. So everything was going, no, no, no. And then the ending happened and I was like, oh, hell yes. It all made sense. So I could have DNF'd this book very easily from the tick, but I didn't think about possibly doing that, because I think there was something in me that really wanted to know where this was going, what was going on. And then when I got there, I was like, oh, hell yes, Christopher Priest, wow, well done, well done. That was so clever. Now, I have a feeling, I haven't looked at specific reviews of this book, but I just typed it in just to see what the general, out of 5 on Waterstones. On Goodreads, I think it's like a 3.8 or something. Because I probably, as I said, I haven't read any of those reviews, so I don't know specifically why people scored lower, but I think it's probably because of the structuring. But it's one of these books that, okay, it might be a bit tough to get through, but once you're through, everything will make sense. And it's like the film version, what Christopher Nolan did with that book and adapted it. You go through it and you're like, what is this? What is going on? I don't understand. And then you get to the end and you're like, oh, holy shit, that's what? And then your second watch of it, you see it in a totally different way. And it's like, oh my God, it's there. It's there. The answer is there. It is there. It's even in the film poster. Like, what? It's just, yeah, it's one of these stories where you commit to it, you get a great payoff, but you've got to commit to it. And I have a feeling that possibly those lower school reviews might be because people didn't feel that they could commit to it, so they may have DNF'd it, or they just felt that the structuring just didn't work for them, or whatever. But it's, yeah, it takes time, but once you've hit the point of payoff, oh my god, it is so worth it. It is so worth it. So yeah, I thought it did hit negatives for me for structuring, for the characterization, because everything is just told from first person perspective, so you couldn't get that balance of exploring different characters and such. And also that thing of, they have these the diaries and they have the book, and obviously, to quote Gilderoy Lockhart from Harry Potter, books can be deceiving. Diaries can be deceiving. Just because it's written down, that doesn't mean that that's actually what happened. So we have authors who could be spreading some lies through their work. So you don't know. You never have solid ground. You never have solid ground. And you could argue the same thing for the film, that because of the way that it's cut together and the jumps and everything that happened, that you don't feel you're on solid ground. But once you commit, my God, it's amazing. I think that's why it so suits Christopher Nolan, that film, as the director, because he is like that as director. If you look at like Inception, that film does not make any friggin' sense if you would just read the script, but because it's Christopher Nolan and what he does with his films and everything, it is absolutely brilliant, and you've got to commit in order to get the payoff. And I feel like he's like that with his other films as well. So this book suits him to perfection. He's the perfect director to direct the film of this book. It's brilliant. Now, with Christopher's work, with his writing of this book, at times it did kind of irk me a little, and I'm going to say it, the way that he depicted women in this. Now, I'm not saying he did something really negative and said horrible. No, nothing like that. I had to keep reminding myself that he was writing about these women that are in the lives of these magicians from the male point of view. Okay, need to make that absolutely clear, from the male point of view. So things get emphasized, I felt, that were important to the character that was writing that particular section. So like all the negative, like whining about things, and just generally putting someone down for being who they are and such as that, and seeing them only as playthings, things like that, where I'm just a bit like, she's a woman, she's a person, she has thoughts and feelings, and like I was like, oh god, why was this was the first person thing where I was like, please, if only there was something from her point of view, just to balance this out. But I had to keep reminding myself, look, this is a diary, or this is a book that is written from the perspective of a man in the 19th century who is more focused on magic than the women in their lives. It's like, so there's going to be the emphasis on the negative rather than the positive. So that's why it kind of irked me, but I had to keep on reminding myself, this is from this particular person's perspective in this type of society at this point in time. And then I was okay. But yeah, I would have loved it if we had a bit of perspective from those women as well, because they're brilliant. I mean, Kate's stuff is the modern female character. Her stuff is more with her because of a traumatic thing that happened in her past, talking about that. So, but she is a strong woman, but she is plagued by this, that is stuck with her all of her life, and she needs to figure stuff out. She needs to know the answers to be able to go forward and have the life that she needs. She needs to put that to bed. So I did love her strength and her determination and such. I just wish that for the women in the 19th century stuff, he gave them a bit of focus as well. So that's yeah, it had so many things that would tick the nope, not for me section, but the payoff completely outshone all of that negative list. So I have to say, I really liked it. I really liked it in the end. I've rewatched The Prestige. I rewatched it yesterday. Or was it the day before? I can't remember. One of those days. I rewatched it and I was like, my God, the way Christopher picked up, adapted the script, adapted the book for the movie script, you know, took out the modern parts and had the 19th century be the focus. I love the fact that it's, you know, it's London. It's a realistic depiction of 19th century London. I think the cast are great, even though occasionally Hugh Jackman kind of annoys me, but you know, it's just my issue with Hugh Jackman. He's a bit too smiley. That's my thing about his character. Even though he does go into depths for this character, I felt like you're only on the surface. I want you to go deeper. I want you to go deep. He's too smiley, too theatrical a bit for me in this film, but you know, that's my thing. Oh, I forgot to mention, in the book, I think the Tesla stuff, and I'm not going to say any more than that because obviously spoilers, is so much stronger than the film. The film, you go, okay, this is interesting. Oh, David Bowie's Tesla. And then I just focus on him, but I'm not actually, it's like what he is doing, what he has come up with in this story and thus in the film is a big fucking deal. And it's just like, oh yeah, it's David Bowie. It's nice to see David Bowie as Tesla. What an interesting casting choice. And then that's it. And also I find Andy Serkis as Tesla's assistant really great in the film, but he's just sort of a tag on, and it's like, oh my God, he's a great talent. Use him more, please. But yeah, he doesn't get as much time on the screen as I would like. So, you know, I have some irks there, but I think definitely the Tesla stuff, unfortunately, it's more of the focus on, oh, look at the pretty lightning and such, rather than, do you actually understand that what he has done here is absolutely fucking amazing? Like, God. And obviously there have been some changes between the film and the book. As mentioned, the modern elements are taken out of the film entirely. And also there are some changes. So, for example, because it's more of a... the book for this particular thing works more... it's more novelistic, and what they did in the film is more suitable for film. And that is literally, the rivalry kind of begins because of a situation of a trick, if that's what you want to refer to it, because it's magicians and everything, that doesn't go quite according to plan. Now, in the book, it's a seance. Now, that makes total sense because back in the 19th century, seances were a massive thing. Contacting the dead, being able to talk to them, everything was a huge deal. It was a huge business, and there were a lot of con artists who went down that road and earned a lot of money that they didn't deserve from it. And so I'm like, for the time period, London, 19th century, yeah, ticks all the boxes there. So that makes sense for the novel. But that is not very exciting for a film. So Christopher Nolan instead changed that to be a glass box full of water with a woman in it. I have no problem with that, but I do feel very much that because, as I said, it's the modern stuff in this that is a big game player, and which is not even mentioned in the film. I feel like the film and the book are two completely different entities, and I love them both. It's like Stardust. If you've read Stardust, you will know that there is so much in that book that is not even mentioned in the film, and vice versa. But I love the film and I love the book, but those are two completely separate stories in a sense, even though they're linked to the same thing. The Prestige film versus the book is exactly the same here. I really enjoy both. I definitely, would read and rewatch the films, but they are two separate entities. So there we go. So I think that covers everything that I wanted to say in my last review of 2023. That's crazy. So it's time to ask my usual 3 questions. So, would I read this again? Yes, I would. And now that I know about the structuring and all that lot, I feel like that will definitely help with going into a second read, but I definitely would reread this again. Would I recommend this to anyone? Yes, I would, but I would flag that the structure might not work for the individual, but the payoff is totally worth it. Would I read any more of Christopher Priest's work? I think definitely yes, but I don't know if this kind of structuring and first-person perspective is something that he does as standard, or if it's just applicable for this book. And I have mentioned this in other reviews where the structuring hasn't quite worked for me, but I'm more than willing to try another book by the author to see if they do a different style and what that would be like. So yeah, I think I definitely would. I'd need to explore. I don't know his full bibliography, but I would I'd have to look into that. So those are my thoughts on The Prestige, and I'll include a link to the trailer, the film trailer for The Prestige in the description below. So if you read this book, I'd love to know what you think. Leave me comments in the comments box below. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, and tag together either side. And I'm going to be back with my review of the year and also my plan for 2024, which I'm very excited for you to see. I've already filmed the plan for 2024, so yeah, I need to get on and film my review of the year. But for book review wise, I now am starting 2024 with the Century Trilogy by Ken Follett, which combined the 3 books. It's about between 2,500 and 3,000 pages, so it might be a couple of weeks before you see me review the first of the trilogy, which is Fall of the Giants. It's a big old book, and this is book 1 of 3, so let's see how I go with the Century Trilogy by Ken Follett. All right, everyone, bye.